Any meeting. My name is Donna Raftery. I am chair of the committee. Also on the committee, we have Cormac Flynn, Susan Wittenberg, Carter Booth. And let's see, anybody who's here from the public, I've asked everybody to sign in a whole bunch of times, so I assume everyone has signed in. Applicants and public, if you are here from the public and wish to speak on an application, please make sure you fill out a speaker card and hand that to me. If you have not filled out a speaker card, but when you hear an application, if you want to speak on an application, just raise your hand, or when I go to the public and you can come up and speak. I will call on the applicants. I will be taking things out of order. The applicant will come up. They will present their application. Then we'll go to the committee to ask questions. And once the committee is done, I'll go to the public to make any comments or ask any questions. Everybody should be addressing the committee. Applicants to the public are not addressing each other, asking everybody to please speak respectfully when they are speaking. Once we are done hearing from the public, I'll go back to the applicants to address anything. And I believe that's it. We need to use the microphone. So there's a microphone here. It adjusts on the pole. You can raise and lower it. You can pull it out, but we ask everybody to please speak into the microphones. Okay, so the first application I'm going to take is SIP NY Acquisition LLC, 60 Thompson Street. This is a change in method of operation for a hotel. Go ahead. I think there's a button.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good evening, CB2, Max Bookman and Eleanor Schotten. We are attorneys.
Speak right up to it.
We are attorneys. Our law firm is Pizetsky and Bookman. With me is Thayer Thompson and Kevin Kim from the Standard Hotel Company. The application before you tonight is a method of operation change application for a hotel that is owned by the Standard, but is not Standard branded. The last time you saw this application was in 2022, when the Standard had purchased the hotel, or was in the process of purchasing it. It was still in the Zoom board meeting days. And it was a transfer application because the hotel was being purchased. What we told you then was that there would be some changes to the hotel, cosmetic, branding, facelift, better guest experience, look and feel, things of that nature. But that we weren't looking to fundamentally alter the nature of the hotel. And in that spirit, we proposed the same stipulations with Manhattan Community Board 2 that the prior outgoing hotel owners had. And that's what you approved us for. Towards the end of that meeting, Carter said to me, and I remember this, I don't know if you remember this, Carter, you said to me, "Are you sure?" or something like that. You know, are you sure that, you know, you don't need any more, basically? Are these the steps you really want? And we didn't really know what you meant by that. And we said, yes, we're sure. But now we think we know what you meant by that, because after you approved us and after the State Liquor Authority gave us our authorization and we bought the hotel and we went into the hotel, there were certain operational realities going on in the hotel that were not aligned with what the stipulations had. In particular, the second floor lounge, which is what it's called in our stipulations, was operating later than what we had been made to believe, and with the DJ. So when we took over the hotel, we adhered to your steps, our steps, the steps we proposed with you. And so, you know, those realities were sort of put to an end when we took over. We operated the hotel for a little while, and then in accordance with our plan, we shut it down for renovations. So now the hotel is completely shut down. It's being renovated in the ways that I just described, the facelift, et cetera. And the plan is to reopen it again under the new brand sometime later this year. It's really under renovation now. We've, so much so that, if we gave you photos, it just would be construction stuff. And so we gave you some renderings of what the restaurant and the second floor lounge area are going to look like. And we'd like to use that all as an opportunity to modify the steps. Not to the fullest extent of sort of what had been going on, but more than what we had initially proposed to you. So there's three things we're looking to change. And if I could direct your attention towards the back of the questionnaire, it's right before the renderings begin. So it's the second to last thing. You'll see a copy of our stipulations with Manhattan Community Board 2. And we've marked them up. Oh, pardon me. That's the outdoor seating addendum. One other moment.
Should we wait after that?
Right. Sorry. The third thing, the outdoor seating addendum. You go back one other page. There's our steps. So those are the steps, and then in red is what we've marked up to show what we're proposing. So we think that makes a pretty clear visual. And as you'll see, there are three things that we're proposing. Number one is we are asking for your agreement for us to have that second floor hotel lounge area be open later on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So right now, the current steps have that closing midnight, 7 days a week. We're now looking for midnight Sunday to Wednesday, which is no change, and then 2 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is down there in the music section, we're looking to have a DJ, not the same DJ that the prior folks had, but what, the background music DJ. You know what this concept is at this point. You hear it a lot. This is a DJ playing at background levels, actively selecting the next song, but not at entertainment level. No dancing. And I know you have sort of verbiage for that. And then the third thing is the exterior patios, and this has a within the property line sidewalk cafe, basically. So it's not actually on the sidewalk, it's within the property line. You see the rendering of that. The steps have that opening at 11 a.m. We'd like to open that at 7 a.m. Although, as many of you know, under the law, alcohol service can't start until 8 and then 10 on Sundays. But we'd like to actually open it though at 7 a.m. We did outreach last time, did outreach this time. Thayer, who's here, reached out to Sean Sweeney last time and this time. Sean understood what we were proposing and is not in opposition to what we were proposing. And as Donna just saw earlier tonight, a nearby resident, Irene Costa, who was reached out to last time, Thayer spoke with her again this time. She had concerns about sort of historic concerns about the operation of the hotel, but came to say, I know she wrote something down on the card, but she's still here. Okay, well then I'm not going to speak for her because she's going to get to speak for herself. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Okay. So I think what you want to do is clear. There's no speakers outside and there's no music outside. And there's no more than 12 private events a year. The DJ is just in the second floor lounge.
Yes.
Okay. And then and the outside closes at midnight.
And back then we didn't have the new outdoor dining program, but we're here to tell you now that we're not looking to have outdoor dining under the new outdoor dining program. We're
keeping it into the property line, and that's
within the property line. That's all.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, if you could, for the outside area, could you just review, are you going to keep the coverings that are out there? What's above the front?
Have a rendering. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so there is an awning that, creates a covering. That's
Go
right.
ahead.
And a planter that And a planter that creates a barrier with the sidewalk.
That's
Yeah.
right.
The second,
Which is not very powerful.
oh, okay, the second floor lounge, that you now want to open until 2, can you hear sound from that outside the hotel? So in other words, can you hear the sound from the street? From the second floor lounge?
The second floor lounge is, good day. The second floor lounge is mainly for the hotel guest. Reservations only, invitation only, if anything. No, it doesn't. It is soundproof. Yeah, only within the hotel on the second floor lounge area. And we're also adding layers of acoustic construction, formalities right now.
Okay. All right, then, in terms of seating, last time when you were here, we did a follow-up email because the seating numbers weren't correct, so I just wanna, there's like 225 in the restaurant, or no? There's 49 on the roof, I think. And 30 on the sidewalk. That part is clear. And then I think 149 on the second floor. Does that, because the numbers are less than what I had, that's why I'm asking.
Numbers in our packet are less than,
Than what I had from before, so I'm just trying to get clarity on that. Because before I had to say the sidewalk. No.
so what we're showing you now is in fact less than what you have. And what I'm being told is that that's intentional. And Thea, could you
That's-
actually just say a word about that? I think you said it well to me just now.
I think just one other thing, one other thing to keep in mind is that the idea of this renovation is that we're actually taking it much more upscale. This will be much more of a luxury product, and it's a hotel, of course, but the vision we have is that it's almost more of a high-end residential feel in terms of the rooms, but also in terms of the second floor space, the way that it will operate. It's meant to be a very exclusive, but also welcoming environment, and mostly, like Kevin said, mostly for hotel guests. Oh, sorry. And because we are also upgrading the furniture package and we're upgrading the design, we will have less seating and more sort of luxury fit out.
Okay. Cormac?
Yeah, Max, I'm a little concerned. There's just one thing here. With the intersection of 7 a.m. outside hours and the 12 private events a year. I just get worried about, say, private events on the rooftop that start at 7 a.m. Could be a little bit loud. Is this, are you intending to have morning events, or is that?
I'll say one thing. So, yes, so with 7 a.m., remember, it operates, this is a hotel. So we have people that are staying overnight, and this is mostly for people for breakfast for the downstairs patio. And frankly, I believe it's been operating this way for many, many years in terms of the breakfast. I don't think that's been an issue. It's just the steps aren't accurate.
We currently are allowed to have 12 private
Yeah.
events. Okay. Morning events, very early, the private morning events.
No, I don't, that wasn't the point of our request. It was to make sure that our hotel guests could have breakfast in the morning outside when the weather permits.
All right, I assume that to be the case, but it's always good to check. And so you wouldn't mind, we'll skip that the private events will not start before whatever reasonable hour you want to say, 10 or 11 or something like that, right? Yeah. All right. I mean, exterior private events.
Right,
I don't care what you do
exterior.
inside. Yeah.
Having like a breakfast, parents teacher association or something like that.
But even that wouldn't start at 7. All right. So we understand your concern. 10 o'clock is reasonable.
Okay, thank you.
So what was the bottom line with that? There's no events before 10
No,
outside.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then, my other questions were, this says the name of the applicant is SIP New York Acquisition. On LAMP, it has 3 other names with it. Is that, and doing business as 60 Soho, Butterfly, Bistro Leo, A60. Is that all accurate, or what is that?
It's gonna be changed. And so that was accurate at the time of our filing. Those DBAs were the prior DBAs. We don't actually have the new DBAs yet, so we have to file an endorsement application with the SLA to update
that.
the DBAs. And we gave you SIP New York Acquisition LLC. That's the main entity on
Okay,
the
but
slide.
the other ones are,
Well, one's actually coming off, and I neglected to mention that, but I'm glad you raised it though, because I think it's actually helpful, is the hotel, the prior hotel operation had a third-party food and beverage management company, and that's one of the entity names that you read. I think it was Sesenta, right? That's what they're,
Yeah.
yeah, Sesenta. As part of their rebrand, Standard is parting ways with that management company and has already and is going to handle food and beverage operations in-house. So there won't be a new third-party management company. So there will be an endorsement application filed with the SLA to remove Sesenta.
so
from
it's
the
not a
license.
corporate change though, because.
not a corporate change, no.
But it's the 2 entities will,
The
rename.
other remaining entities are both the Standard Hotel entities.
okay. And then, I'm just going to go through my concern is with the DJ, because everybody puts a DJ in to curate music and it's never stays at background levels. I'm just putting that out there. I have personal experience with this. It doesn't happen. So, that's my concern with the DJ.
Would you like to hear my
You can go ahead.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, so understandable. I think, as you know, you take every case on its own facts. I think there are a few facts in this case that maybe not completely ameliorate that concern, but do help address it. One is that this is second floor, so it's not ground level, doors opening, music spilling out onto the street. Number 2 is, the soundproofing you heard, plus the lack of operable windows on the second floor. And then number 3 is the other sort of objective operational limitations that would allow a place to morph into a loud environment, like live music and dancing. Sorry, promoters, are not changing, where we keep the prohibition against those. So those are 3 things that, again, may not completely make you comfortable, but I think make it better than most other cases.
We can, I was gonna, yeah. So I'm gonna go to the public and then let the.
Okay.
I don't think, did you give me a speaker card, Irene? Is that, yeah. Yeah, I'll take the speaker card, so I have that, and then you can come up and speak. Thank you. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Go ahead. And start with stating your name.
My name is Irene DaCosta. I live at My name's Irene DaCosta. I live at 64 Thompson Street. I've lived there since roughly 1997, and I don't know if any of the people from the community board, if you were here in 2003, that you would know then that the Pomerantz group who first opened 60 Thompson were an absolute nightmare. They were very rude to the community. They blasted loud music from the rooftop bar. They put this huge HVAC unit in the backyard of 64 Thompson Street, which is a residential building. Our landlord rented it to them. Our landlord rented the basement to them, which is illegal. And they always, from the beginning, played loud music. When we went there and complained, they said things, and the DJ, so I was a little concerned about the DJ, said to me one day, "These people paid too much money to be here. I can't turn the music down." A woman who lives on West Broadway in one of the lofts there went over, and she was so upset about the DJ not turning music down, that she pulled the plug on the speakers. And we as residents do not want to behave in that way. We're nice, decent people. So they were an absolute nightmare. They only cooperated with the neighborhood, and it's all the people who lived on West Broadway. The people who had lofts there were part of our lawsuit. There were, I believe, 3 different lawsuits from the neighborhood against the Pomerantz Group. The people on West Broadway brought one against them. We, as the tenants at 64 Thompson, we brought one against them for the HVAC units in the backyard and for being in our basement. Both things are illegal. And I was told this by someone at the community board, that being in our basement, the basement in a residential property is only to be used for storage by the landlord. Our lawsuit against the hotel went on and on and on for forever. We were frustrated. We finally settled. We won half of our lawsuit. The HVAC units were removed, but we could not get them out of the basement. So, having lived through this nightmare with the Pomerantz Group, which was completely uncooperative, I spoke with Mr. Thompson earlier today. His attitude from the beginning is different. So if what they say is true and that they will be, if they say what is true, that they will cooperate with the neighborhood, I have no problem. But nobody wants to go through these nasty lawsuits. I haven't talked to anyone on West Broadway. As you know, Ivan Corp and Ryan were part of had a lawsuit against them. Ivan has since passed away. I haven't had a chance to talk to Marilyn or anyone in her building, but I don't have anything bad to say about them. Their whole attitude today, and when I spoke, has been much, much better than the Pomerantz Group. So that's, thank you.
Thank you. Cormac, hang on one second.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. Picasso, I was wondering, when you talked about the DJ and the noise, right, was coming, that was from speakers in the exterior spaces, or did you ever hear noise coming out through the windows of things on the interior space?
No, it was from the rooftop bar, and I believe it was the second floor lounge. And they kept promising that they were going to soundproof, and they'd come to the community board and say, oh, we're going to soundproof, we're spending $100,000 to soundproof. And we're like, okay, come on, soundproof already. So, but I guess they did soundproof because somewhere between 2003 and once they were in trouble with losing their liquor license, then they started to cooperate with us. But they would go, our lawyer was Barry Mallon at the time, and he would have us go to the different meetings with the liquor authority, and the bartenders or whoever would just pay like a $2,000 fine or something, and saying to the civil servants, it's the cost of doing business. But the Pomerantz Group didn't cooperate with us until finally the liquor authority gave them a $10,000 fine, and our lawyer told us, this is really good. The liquor authority doesn't really do this, and they're in trouble. They could possibly lose their liquor license. So the Pomerantz Group didn't cooperate with us until the threat of losing their liquor license was hung over their head, and then they were cooperative.
Oh, that's great. I understand that. But so at some point, the noise emanating from the second floor stopped, and your impression is that physical soundproofing had been done or something like that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Go ahead.
Nothing further unless you have other additional questions.
Oh, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think going until 2 is a little bit much, but because it was previously midnight and we had these problems at the location, as you heard, but I think one, if you're gonna have a DJ, just to Donna's point, that really is the defining time period of when it's gonna be different, I think.
We had talked about 3 with Sean, and he, it came down to 2 after talking to him. So I know we're proposing 2 to you, but
I mean, because this was previously midnight across the board. And then again, so that's, and the DJ, I mean, these are a lot of different indicators of where there are issues.
sorry.
So when I asked you before about sound from the second floor, the woman who just left said that she believes that it'd been soundproofed. So in a way that she was addressing what my concern was, so that I'm sure you're renovating everything, but so that it has been solved, and that's not that's not going to be an issue for any of the neighbors any longer, right?
Yes, and Thayer's going to elaborate on that, and to Carter's point.
Yes, yes, that's true. And we're actually adding additional soundproof. I want to be clear. We don't want the hotel guests to hear the noise from the second floor. Okay. So again, we're going very luxury here. So people are going to be paying a lot of money. We do not want our hotel guests to be woken up by noise. So we are as conscious of this concern as the neighbors are, obviously, and we want to be good neighbors as well, of course. So I think in our view is this hotel has not had noise complaints with respect to the second floor for many, many, many years. And we know that the prior operator was going past 2 a.m., certainly on the weekends, and there was no noise complaint. So I think our view is we're not asking for 7 nights a week. We're talking about Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And obviously we will be respectful if the very unlikely scenario happens where there might be a concern. But again, I don't see it. This is not a nightclub loungy kind of experience. That's not what this is. So. Sure.
You have a DJ, you're open till 2 a.m. What is it?
Yeah, I could see why it might seem like it is that, but that's not the point. The point is, again, imagine you're at a friend's house and it's a very nice apartment and you're having a glass of wine and you like to extend your conversation past midnight. I mean, I often have music when I have friends over, when I'm having a glass of wine with my wife. I don't wake up my neighbors, but it's nice to have a little bit of background music. And we sometimes, not as much these days, but certainly used to stay up past midnight. And so I think for us, that feels, I mean, especially imagine going to dinner somewhere in the city, you come back to your very nice hotel and you can't have a glass of wine in your sort of luxury, second floor area. I think that's the concern we have.
I mean, just to tell you, this is the same story we got spun before at this location with exactly that. And so that's the issue, is that obviously most restaurants are winding down earlier and everything is shifted a bit earlier in New York, whether people like that or not, but that's what has happened. And that's the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock is the difference between what happens in lounges and clubs versus the 1 o'clock, which is ample time afterwards. I mean, that's just, I mean, the past operation just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, again,
as it went, just, for
sorry.
what that was.
I think a couple things. One, we're not the past operators. We're operating everything ourselves. We put in a lot of money. You might have seen the articles about the acquisition. This is all standards money. This isn't third-party investors. This is all standards money. It's very important to us that this is successful. We're putting an enormous amount of money into the renovation to make this a very luxury operation. Okay, so like I said, I don't actually know of any noise complaints that folks were getting about the second floor for the past few years, but we are improving the situation dramatically. Additional soundproofing, we're operating ourselves. We're going to shut it down earlier, and it's an entirely different concept. So I respect the concern. I do. I hear it. I just think that the facts are fundamentally different in this case.
Anybody else? And I mean, I'm gonna stay. I still have the problem with the DJ and 2 a.m. and that you're installing extra soundproofing to me means you need extra soundproofing. And if it's supposed to be background, then the level shouldn't be changing. And so then why do we need the extra soundproofing? And I'm very familiar with the standard and I understand that this is a different operation, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't think,
But,
I don't think
you
you could
know,
ding us for putting extra soundproofing in. I mean, you always want to encourage people to put soundproofing. You can't
course.
hold it against us because we're doing it.
so I'm just.
I mean, I think that's the responsible thing to do. I mean, I think if we said we weren't, I think that would obviously be problematic. So
Okay, so there's no movement on the 2 o'clock. Is there any movement on the 2 o'clock?
We haven't contemplated that. I mean, we've also built a pro forma business model around a certain set of operating assumptions. We moved that back from where, I mean, respectfully, it was going to 3 and 4 in the morning before. We moved it way back. We never planned for that, but we have planned for 2. We've built an operations model and a team around that. And I guess what I don't quite understand is, I understand the concern from a theoretical standpoint, but because we hadn't heard of recent complaints, we didn't,
But you also aren't open till 2 and you also don't have a DJ. So I mean,
right.
we get this all the
Yeah.
time. People haven't complained and then they come in for the later hours and then they add in the DJ. And those are
Yeah.
the elements that actually lead to the complaints, not the 12 o'clock restaurant with no DJ.
no,
Just-
that is a good point. I think Thayer's only point for whatever was worth is that,
And-
is that we know that these later hours were happening. Now they shouldn't have been, but they were. And I think that was his point. So it's not that when we were operating under earlier steps, there's been no complaints. I think you have a fair point when you say that, but we know the prior people were operating past the steps, which they shouldn't have been doing, but that was the reality. And there weren't any recent complaints, even based on that operation.
I mean, the concern is it sounds like this is a huge revenue model in those later hours. That's our concern because that's exactly where the issues happen. I mean, if you want to end the DJ at midnight, that would ameliorate things and it's a quieter environment. But these are the hallmarks of everything we see, over and over. And I think that's what Donna is saying. It's just. And
John?
Okay, we could take your suggestion, Carter, and end the DJ at midnight.
Okay, thank you. So you stay open till 2, but the DJ stops at midnight. Great. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have anything? Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
So the next application is going to be Gin Noodles and Sushi Inc. At 49 East 8th Street. Okay. No. Okay, so I think if you just go through the general operation, that's good.
Yes.
Just you have to speak close to the
Oh,
microphone.
yeah,
And introduce yourself.
It's a ramen, noodle and sushi restaurant.
Okay, and your name is?
My name is Jason Jing.
Okay,
Yeah, Jing noodle and sushi.
Okay, so it's a ramen sushi restaurant.
Well, I just applied for beer one, like beer one. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and the hours are like 11 to 10?
Right now it's 11 to 9:30, but maybe a few months later I plan to open like 11 to 11:30.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so what I care about is what time you're closing, and when we say closing, we mean all patrons are out.
So again,
When we say closing, it means all patrons have left the premises, not ordering their last drink.
yes.
So on your application, I believe it said something 9:40 closing from Sunday to Thursday and 10:40 from Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
So is that when everybody's out?
Yeah, about it all, yes.
So I was just saying, so your hours are 11 to 10 o'clock closing. So
I know, yes.
I mean, you can always close earlier.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to have it so you don't have to come back here to,
but honestly,
close
maybe I
later.
close maybe, no, it's soft opening, so we close like before 10 o'clock.
okay,
So maybe in a few months later, we may close like 11 o'clock, I believe.
on Friday and
Yeah,
Saturday.
but definitely, maybe Friday, Saturday, yes.
So it's 10 o'clock the other days.
Yeah, other day, yeah.
Or-
Weekday, maybe 10 o'clock, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, should it be 11 o'clock?
Uh,
So if we just say you're open from 11 to 11, 7 days, and if you can always close earlier.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just
sure.
means you're
Yeah,
not in any
okay, yeah.
trouble if you stay open late.
10 to 11, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Then you don't have any TVs
No TV.
and it's 15 tables and 60 seats.
Yeah,
thi-
about 60C, yes.
Okay, and the patrons do not use the cellar.
The
The-
cellar is a storage area.
It's
yes.
just storage. So
Yeah,
your
I'm not-
bathroom,
Yes,
the bathrooms are up on the first floor.
yeah, 3 bedroom is all on the ground floor, yes.
Okay, and do any of other than the door that you enter through, do any of the windows open like a folding French
The
door?
window is not open. It's
So
fixed
everything is
glass. Yes,
fixed?
fixed,
Okay,
yes.
and the music is just background?
Yeah, just
music.
background, yes, quiet.
Okay. And, is there insulation? There are residents up above you,
Actually,
I
it's
think.
left side, right side is all stove. And then I believe it's most part of my space is no apartment above us. You know, the residential, they enter on 9th Street. On 8th Street, my block is all stove.
Okay,
Yeah, basically it's like a 1-story building.
okay. Does anybody from the committee have any questions? No? No? Okay, I think, so what happens is I will give you a stipulation agreement to sign. It basically will have your hours from 11 to 11.
Yeah, 11 to
It says that you're a full-service restaurant. You're not going to be a lounge or a
Uh,
tavern.
no, just
And there's no outside seating.
no, it's
There's only background music.
Yeah.
No TVs, all the
But-
doors are closed. There's no unlimited drink specials,
second.
no unlimited drink specials.
No,
No, so that, I just wanted to, and
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah, that's
So
it.
the office will send something over to you.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, the next application is going to be GSV NYC 2 LLC at 302 Bowery.
Michael Kelly representing the applicant. Joshua Sampson is here. He's the owner.
Okay,
This is a tavern wine license application for,
yeah, you have to close right up to the
Sorry.
microphone.
this is a tavern wine application for GSV NYC LLC, doing business as Garage Sale Vintage. We're located at 302 Bowery between Bleecker and East Houston. We're going to be primarily a vintage clothing store and vintage products. The area where the wine and beer will be sold will be on the first floor. There'll be 4 tables, 8 seats, and a 10-seat bar. The square footage used for this aspect is approximately 585 square feet. The entire place is 4,600 square feet with about 2,887 square feet used for retail, 1,128 used for storage. The hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Josh operates multiple locations in Denver and Boulder, Colorado, and Nashville, Tennessee. This is primarily vintage clothing. We'll be opening our first location in New York at 122 West 26th Street. I've applied for a tavern wine there also. That application did pass Community Board 4 and has their support. Multiple businesses have opened where we're opening the restaurant. Since the restaurant supply store closed, there's been an antique shop, clothing store, a tattoo parlor. All of them went out of business. We will have security mainly on the weekends, but mainly for the retail aspect of this, not for people drinking a glass of wine while they're shopping. There'll be 2 TVs for menu, clothing advertisement, and there won't be any volume on there. We did hand in signatures of support. There's 3 residential apartments above us, 4 people living there. All of them signed a petition. Any questions, or if Josh wants to talk about what he does there?
Go ahead.
Yes, it's a vintage clothing.
So
store.
you need to,
Yeah,
either,
Happy to answer any questions about the concept or anything like that. But yeah, we're a vintage clothing store, specialize in buy, sell, trade, and upcycling. And we have a unique concept where we're mashing together vintage clothes and coffee, beer, and wine. And it's been going pretty well and offering many layers of that experience. So happy to answer any questions you have or anything like that.
okay. I'll just start with where's the kitchen and where is the food cooked?
We don't cook any food. It's all bar snacks, all reheated. It's all done at the bar.
Okay, so there's no food.
Yeah, there's no hood.
That's why it's a tavern wine. There won't be a full menu. There is a kitchen.
What?
It's not, we
No.
don't
Right,
do
there's
full
no
kitchen.
tacos, there's no nothing, it's just bar
We
food.
do really
Are you
like
doing
tacos.
tacos? You're doing your tacos?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that just gets heated.
Basically bar snacks.
Okay,
Where's it cooked though?
It's reheated food. It's cooked. It comes cooked from Cisco already.
from where?
Cisco, the major food supplier, food distributors.
Caterer.
It's prepared already. It would be microwave behind the bar, just like any other tavern wine that has to supply food.
Okay, and then my next question, essentially, this is a vintage clothing store.
Mhm.
So then my next question is going to be why the hours of 12 and 2 o'clock in the morning for people to buy vintage clothes?
Great question. We have a niche. We cater to a later crowd. It's working really well where people who don't necessarily drink want to come with their friends who want to have a beer, but they want to shop, and other clothing stores are closed, and we found a niche in being open later hours, and we're open late, and this will be our 6th location.
Yeah, your other locations are where in Boulder,
Two-
Nashville?
Nashville, East Nashville, Boulder, Colorado, and Denver, Colorado,
Just,
and Chelsea here on 7th and 6th.
which hasn't opened yet.
Yep, open. Yep, correct.
And those hours, I think, were till 1 o'clock.
To 1, yes.
Okay, so not the 2. And then talk about the events.
We really don't have many events. Oh yeah, if we have a vendor collective, and sometimes some of the vendors come in and we host events, but we're not an event venue by any means. It's just neighborhood gatherings.
Okay, and then, and the outside is how many seats, how many tables? What were you looking for?
Tables with 8 seats. They would be 2 on either side of the door with the wait service aisle coming out the door. So they'd be using about 4 feet of the sidewalk. It
Okay.
hasn't been measured. By the time it's filed, it'll probably be for next year because they're gonna be taking about 5 months at this point. There's no sidewalk cafe filed, but we wanted to bring it up to you.
Okay, and then the certificate of occupancy for the cellar, how is that? Are you changing that?
That
Or
was all storage. No one's gonna be down there.
that's not what it shows on the diagram. It shows circles for retail down there.
Oh, yeah.
We
I'm
want
sorry.
to, we want to
Yeah,
use
I'm
it for
sorry.
retail.
Yeah, who's gonna pay for who's gonna pay to change the certificate of occupancy on the building?
Myself and the myself and the landlord.
So when are you gonna do that filing? Cause there's no indication that you're doing that filing.
There's nothing filed right now. Landlord, I was on the phone with them about 10 days ago with the landlord in the office. So they know what we need.
And you I was just kind of curious that you had characterized this as that none of them survived. I mean, how long was the antique store there for?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, 10 years. I mean, that's a pretty good run for a business in New York. It's just, you know.
He just said 4 years.
So would you be willing to close at 10 and 11 like most other retail stores?
No.
Okay. And I'm just curious who you reached out to in the neighborhood. I mean, it's more for Mike. I mean,
Well, we handed in, I sent it to I notified the block association around the Bowery Street Block Association. We got no answer from them. They're listed on the same email I sent to Eva, the block associations that were within our area.
right. And, this stretch has a number of other bars and places, a lot of quality of life issues, that have been going on. And I'm just wondering how you're going to address those. If you have a store with your bar all the way in the back, you can't see the door from all the clothing racks from the design that's set up. You want to have outdoor seating until midnight. I'm just wondering how this contributes at all into the neighborhood. Personally, I've lived in this area for over 20 years. Zella's not with us anymore. She'd have a lot of things to say. We have residents who live in the neighborhood who are here. This doesn't really fit in here in this neighborhood with hours until 2. The two other or the other concept that started like this, which is the Smile, which is now Jack's on Bond, closed at 11 o'clock at midnight when they had came in with this concept. So this is really an outlier in as far as the impact that it's having, even though it's a beer and wine license.
Yes.
So if you could if you could answer.
It is basically a
If you could
clothing.
answer, I just want to hear from him since he's going to be
Okay.
the one.
I just want to get in. This is a clothing store. We're gonna be offering,
Exactly.
we're gonna be offering beer and wine to customers. That
Yeah,
want-
we have another one that's on Lafayette and Bleecker. They close at 10 PM. They have a bottle club license as well.
It's our business plan. It's like, I'm just sticking to what we do everywhere else.
Are you
Actually-
open till 2 in Nashville and
Yeah,
Boulder?
we have the
'Cause
ability,
that's-
we have the ability to open till 2 in every location. We choose to close earlier. We sometimes, in Denver, we're open till 1:30. Boulder, we close at midnight sometimes, but it just depends on the neighborhood. And just like you said, to have the ability to be 11 to 11, we want to have the ability to be open till 2. This stretch on Bowery has a lot of business. It's not cheap rent, and we want to be able to capture clothing and offer a different experience besides all the other bars. So it's what we do. We're going to keep doing it, and it's working pretty well. And it's friends and family. Like we offer a totally different experience than rowdy bars down the street. So and also we protect our clothes really well. We have security for our clothes. We don't need security for rowdy drunk people. It's not our business. I used to love the Bowery and what it was when I was a kid and things. And so I'm really keen on this neighborhood and really think us as an outlier concept will really contribute and add a lot of character to the street. We have very long hours. We're open in the morning all the way till end. So it activates the street longer than most other businesses. On Bowery, bars don't even open till later. So adding more activity to the street with longer hours is what we're known for. And we think it's a pretty positive thing.
Does anybody else from the committee have anything? Cormac?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I just gotta tell you how I'm looking at this application. You come to me and you say you're a clothing store and you want to have beer and wine. I look at the application one way. when you start talking about 12 and 2 AM and outdoor dining, I'm going to be evaluating this as a wine bar that happens to sell clothing. That may not be what you're saying your business model is, but in terms of community impact, that's what this is. If you had no clothing in there and you're just serving alcohol, it would be the same impact to the community. You have outdoor dining and you want outdoor dining till midnight, which by the way, I don't think we authorize that for anybody. And right, it's like, you know, you want to be open till 2 on the weekends. I mean, for a bar, okay, that makes some sense. For a clothing store, it doesn't. So I just want to be clear about how I'm looking at this, because I just want to be honest with you.
Huh? Yeah, we have the public. So can I just want to ask one other question and then we have people from the public here. Can people get a glass of wine and then, or beer or whatever, and walk through the store with it? Or,
Yes.
okay, so basically.
Mainly they sit at the bar,
They sit
usually.
at the bar, but they can also grab their wine and then go through the store.
Yeah,
Okay,
but we recommend that they sit at the bar because we don't want people spilling on the clothes, but
got
we
it.
have it pretty dialed.
Okay, thank
But
you.
outdoor dining will be table service only, right? The outdoor.
It would close at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock.
Right, and it would only, like, people couldn't get wine at the bar, go shopping and then go and sit outside. They have to be served at the table
They would
by
have to
table
be served.
service. Yes,
It's mainly somewhere for somebody who doesn't want to shop with whoever they came with to sit outside.
right.
and-
So but you will have wait staff then
Yeah.
that do that. Okay.
Okay, I think we have some people here from the public on this, so I'll go to the public. I have James Sherry and Colleen O'Connor Grant, if you want to come up to the microphones. State your name and speak, as you know, speak into the microphone.
Yes, I'm gonna speak into the microphone and thank you for the opportunity for addressing you today. My name is James Sherry. I've lived at 300 Bowery next door to the proposed establishment since 1977. I've had men overdose on my stoop. I've washed vomit from the stoop from countless winos. I've worked with precinct police to keep drug dealers off the block. But now we at 300 Bowery are in a new age when the vomit comes not from socially challenged individuals, but from students, other borough visitors, and tourists. Drunks ring our bell at 2 a.m. supporting themselves in the bell button while they pee on our doorstep. We have been threatened by drunk students, we have been threatened by drunk tourists, and we have been threatened by drunk outer borough individuals when we try to enter our door at 10 p.m. We are 10 New Yorkers resident of 300 Bowery. We are real people living there. 2 families, 2 to 4 members, and my wife and I. 4 members of our building were born in the building, and 2 other people grew up here and after college are now living here in their 30s. 300 Bowery was our home. There are many such residents in our small block between Bleecker and Houston. It's not just us. We have grave concerns about turning our landmark block on the Bowery between Bleecker and Houston into another honky-tonk row. Our block is oriented with tourists and NYU students and visitors from other boroughs, with weekend pedestrian traffic blocking our access to our own front door. The bar at Slanger, which is next door to the proposed establishment, has several raucous group shouting events a week. Some are sporting events, some are trivia games of the bar, but there's no way that we do not hear them throughout the block. Now the storefront at 302 Bowery is attempting to rent a quote cafe, but needs to apply for a new wine and beer license. The 302 building has never had a license. Since we already have 4 liquor licenses between Bleecker and Houston, 7 liquor licenses on our square block, and 25 within 500 feet of our location, we want to object to any new application on the block, especially at 302 Bowery right next to our home. Congestion and noise on our block are already intolerable, as is the venting noise and smell from other restaurants and bakeries on the block. And I'm sure you're all aware of the ongoing conflict between 306 Bowery and the Japanese chicken restaurant Torian on Elizabeth Street, and that's ongoing as we speak. Noise. We have often had to call the Slanger bar to close their back windows after midnight, and Slanger is a good operator. Finally, we have to turn off our doorbell on weekends to avoid people leaning on it to drunkenly pee. This cafe open until 2 a.m. or even midnight will not make the situation better, and we will have to take stronger measures to protect our quiet enjoyment of our homes. On the business side, this kind of storefront cannot make money selling clothes. J. Crew and Kenneth Cole have already failed in the neighborhood. A similar church-run vintage store called Old Good Things couldn't make enough money from the site at 302. They lasted for 4 years with a lot of backing and then retired. And there are already too many bars for the amount of, quote, middle-class traffic if Good Baby management hopes to attract higher income shoppers. Most shoppers go to the location where there is more walk-in traffic, say Lafayette Street, where people are already shopping, or Broadway, or even Second Avenue and further east, where the younger crowd congregates and it would be more appropriate for this kind of establishment. I understand that the requirements of a beer and wine license are few and difficult for the board to deny. But the notion of an outdoor cafe until 2 a.m. or even midnight is asking for trouble. And if the board cannot, in good conscience, deny Good Baby management a license, the board can at least limit its alcohol hours to a 10 p.m. closing time. Furthermore, from the Facebook page of Good Baby Management, I quote, Good Baby Management is a retail hospitality group that specializes in placemaking and brand development services. And we have heard that they plan to have parties for their quote, vendors, which means that they may not intend to make money from street traffic alone, which as we know is mercurial, sparse, and not well-heeled or intending to buy high-end clothing. Good Baby may be forced, despite what they say now, to make money from their commercial events to promote brands and corporate releases of their products. This means loud events with loud music as often and as late as they are allowed by the board. Am I going to go downstairs at 1 a.m. in my PJs and ask 80 people to stop playing Taylor Swift and go home? Police won't stop them. It's a license. They have this license. This kind of storefront operation is easily redesigned to generate excitement with noise, music, drink, and hucksterism from the garment center and tech hubs. This kind of storefront is built to be disruptive. And remember, disruption is the corporate goal, and they don't mean to simply disrupt the market. They mean to disrupt society to gain attention for their brands. I don't think this kind of storefront publicity venue has any value on our block. Let Good Baby go to another block further west where shoppers are, or further east where the young people are. And if the board cannot in good conscience deny the license, and I understand that, then please limit the time that wine and beer are allowed to be sold, and see if it's possible to avoid the slippery slope where the store starts as a wine and beer license and soon applies for a liquor license and soon becomes a bar. This block does not have a good business flow, so it's not a good investment for CB2 and is already oversupplied with establishments selling alcohol. This application extends its hours too far into the night. Please consider the lives and welfare of the people who live here, so I have to do less cleaning of our stoop after a weekend of shopping. Thank you for your good public service, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Did you submit that in, did you mail that into the?
About before 5.
Thank you. I know, but I didn't look. That's why I'm just asking. Colleen, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I'm Colleen O'Connor Grant. I'm a resident of 300 Bowery, right next door. I'm raising 2 children enrolled in public school. I'm familiar with the community board thanks to its ongoing support of public schools, but this is my first time appearing here. There are other children who live in our building as well. So there are real residents. We do really have families that live on the block. And And we really do have to turn off our doorbells at night, not just on weekends. Most of the kids know to bang on the door and then open the front door to our building, because given the pre-existing location, so this is an application for 302 Bowery. So 302 Bowery, potentially 304 Bowery, which is in existence, 308 Bowery in existence, and 310 Bowery in existence are all operating liquor licenses. So when we open the door, we have to knock because we don't know if somebody will be passed out. And then we have to look for vomit, for glass bottles, and for whatever other fun puddles of pee. I recognize that the applicant is not yet in operation, but it's also going to operate under a potential liquor license. So we're looking at this more of the same. Now, thank you for bearing with me. I went to Hunter College's city planning program, and I just wanted to speak to a few points on the application. And the first is, in general, that there is an application, right? Because we're looking to promote a healthy business climate in our community, and that's usually through business diversity. So there's city planning principles that define a variety of business types is what makes for a healthy block, especially for a block with this type of zoning. And as you heard from my neighbor and myself, when you have an oversaturation of one type of industry, you have problems. You're a little bit more exposed, but in particular, since this is an applicant that filled out an application for an alcohol license, right? The business of alcohol comes with its own negative externalities. So you're looking at an oversaturation of one type of industry, and in particular, the products of intoxication on an already intoxicated radius. You heard about the numerous amounts of establishments with liquor licenses already in operation. Coming back to the application, the specific hours for alcohol to be served is definitely a revenue model that coincides with bar service. The current business that is still in operation at 302 Bowery closes at 8 p.m. So when you think about the existing bars and sort of the detox centers in the neighborhood, we're currently dealing with a lot of, drunk people screaming and shouting up till early morning hours. This location now wants to have an outdoor cafe as well. Let's see, on the application, Sunday through Thursday until 12 a.m. and Friday to Saturday until 2 a.m. This is not a clothing store, judging by its revenue model. The applicant also mentioned security, not usually a feature of a clothing store. On the community board agenda tonight, it noted previously unlicensed, and I thought that was like really cute because there's something really sweet about that, like a space without alcohol. Imagine that. Imagine that we would be a community that could offer space to other businesses other than alcohol businesses. So there is a historic precedent for this particular location. It doesn't have to get a kitchen. It doesn't have to vend alcohol. There can be space for other types of businesses. And to the point of this particular business, which we really don't have any idea what this business is, except they have, they seem to be they have at least 5 other locations. So they're a national business with 5 other locations that wants to open an antique clothing store at 302 Bowery. The business that is there is still currently in operation, unlike what the application is informing you of. They're called The Line. They're a clothing store and tattoo parlor. They offer both services without selling alcohol. You can look them up. I just saw them actually before I came in because they were open. They're open till 8. And they've got events posted throughout this month. So on the application, not all of the information is, say, up to date or factual. And I just really wanted to take a moment to state that it means so much to me that I am here with my family. We brought our dinner here. There's a lot of liquor on our rectangular block. I myself am not anti-alcohol, and I live with what is around us, but to compound the problem is what I'm here to speak about. And I am happy to answer, any questions or offer any other observations, that you guys might want to know.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Does anybody have anything? Okay, thanks a lot for coming.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
there anybody else here on this application? I don't have any other speaker
Basically,
questions.
hour wise, the outdoor would close at 10 and 11. And he's willing to close during the week at 12 and 1 o'clock on the weekends. So this is not going to be a bar. We would stipulate that the square footage would always be what it is. Mainly 585 for the wine bar area. We'll call it that, and 2887 used for retail. That's basically the same thing we did with Community Board 4, just to show that it's going to be a clothing store. Community Board 4, we are going into the old Ainsworth. That was a major problem. We had a lot of people that were opposed, and after talking through a lot of things, they came to the realization that we weren't the Ainsworth and it would never be the Ainsworth again. That's why they supported us with the stipulation about the floor area for the retail part. And can we survive without selling wine and beer? Probably not. It's going to help with the vintage sales. Josh, he estimates that his other places bring in about 20% of their revenue from the alcohol. And the alcohol is from people having a snack to eat while they're shopping. That's the whole premise behind this. It's not to bring people in off the street, people getting drunk, people, unfortunately, I understand what the residents were talking about, people throwing up on their stoop, sleeping in there because they're highly intoxicated. Our place, somebody's going to be shopping. They might have a beer. They might have a glass of wine, maybe two. That's it. They're not going to be sitting around in the clothing store drinking for the ambience.
Cormac?
So I appreciate that. Just FYI, I mean, the other locations around the country, third-party community guides and tourist guides and things uniformly describe them as bars. I understand that's not how you necessarily are conceiving it, but, people do see these as bars. The other thing that I notice on the website for the chain is that they all have significantly earlier hours than you were seeking here, right? With Friday and Saturdays at midnight and other days at either 10 or 11.
I think the key point there is that we have the ability to go to those hours and due to the business climate, like in the summers, we adjust our hours to go later. We have the ability to go to 2 in all of our locations. We don't choose to do that very often. We adjust when we need to. We have the ability to do it. Just like the last applicant was saying, you can close earlier before 11, but we have the ability to do it. That's all we're asking for. It's not, so that's a very good point about what we do in other places. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. We're to be open to the latest hours in Nashville. It gets crazy and we actually enjoy closing a little earlier sometimes, but sometimes people come late. There's different, it's business. If we cut off all our options to make money, that's when it gets scary. So for our point of view is that we want to be flexible with the hours, have the opportunity to be there. Our business is selling vintage clothes. 70% to 80% of every dollar is vintage. We're supporting. So what we're doing is offering a new experience in shopping. Just like we go to Bloomingdale's, it's just different. We're doing something different. And I know it takes time to adjust to it and learn about it, but it's not a scary thing. We're not a rowdy bar like the bars around the street. We offer we're not a loud bar. It is a clothing shop. So I know we don't have one in New York to reference, but I'm excited for you guys to all come to it, and it is very pleasant. So
just so you know, it's not that new or different a thing. We have other places that have liquor licenses that are retail, and we also have had a number of other proposals like this, and they usually go very wrong, which is why we're so skeptical. Just giving you background context for this. Can you go over what you do about? Well, let me go back one step. What is your target market for the retail side, for the vintage clothing? Like, what is your target demo?
That's a great question that our marketing team struggles with every day because too many people like the store. It's too hard to pinpoint exactly who likes it, but people who want to upcycle and close, people who enjoy cleaning their closets out and making money with their closets. Believe it or not, it's an older demographic who enjoys the store. We would thought it would have been younger kids, but it's not. So there's a little bit of everybody in our mix, which is really great for diversity and why it really hits home with a lot of people. We sell clothes from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and Y2K. and that appeals to a lot of different folks. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, so it does, but let me ask you,
Yeah.
so how do you handle age verification in the
We-
place? Because it's typically in a bar, you just, people come in, they often get checked to the door, something, I mean, what do you do?
Very, very strict on IDs. Anybody who comes to the bar is well trained. Every single retail staff member that we have is tips and serve safe certified. It is one of the very first things that our training program does. So zero chance of any ID. Yeah, no underage drinking happening here.
Hi, we actually have, it's so common now for us to get applications from retail shops that want to have drinks served to customers in one way or another. But what's different for this and why it'll take other discussion is that none of them have really serving drinks after normal shopping hours. So that's where this is unique, and that's why it's concerning. I mean, when these applications first started coming in, we were surprised, and it actually has not been a problem whether it's been a barber or a fancy watch store. But this is not that. This is the late hours. It's, I mean, there are only two neighbors, but we know the neighborhood very well. And so clearly that's what the concern is.
Yeah, I understand.
I would also add, retail shops generally do not have outside dining, outside alcohol service, outside dining. So that's part of what I'm trying to wrap my head around. If it's a retail shop, it doesn't have that. If it's a bar, then we should be evaluating it as a bar, not as a retail shop. So
I hear that. Although our Nashville, Boulder, Denver, all four stores have the outdoor patios. Again, typically a couple or people coming together, someone's shopping, someone's hanging out, and that's why it works for us.
Can we talk about the events a little bit more? Just, my concern is that, people are going to be coming in, you're going to be doing a lot of the events. We see this all the time with these various stores having somebody showcasing their vintage collection or whatever it's going to be. So can you talk about that? And
I'm very
that
flexible
with the later night hours.
I'm very flexible on events. We really don't have much of an event schedule, if at all, maybe one or two in a year that come in, but we don't. I'm not concerned about events. If you want to have some stipulations on it, I'm fine with that. But that's not an issue for us. Okay.
I mean, I think like everybody else has said, my concern is the hours for the clothing store, and I don't see people. I get it. It's different. But 2:00 is late for people to be out shopping, and your main business is your vintage clothing. The ancillary is the wine bar, beer, wine. And it seems like that's after a certain hour, that's primary and the shopping is ancillary. And I think that's the concern of people. And the ancillary has outdoor.
I mean, like Mike
seating.
said, we're happy to shut the outside down at 10:00.
10:00 every day?
What did we say, 11?
He said 10 and 11. Not that I think.
10 on the weekday.
10 and 11 on the weekend.
Okay.
Basically, cleaning what 2 hours.
No, we've been asking for 10, but this is not, this is not a restaurant with outdoor seating with that kind of conversation. So it's a completely different conversation. In the first place, it's not a restaurant, and it's not really a wine bar. It's really a clothing store open till 2:00 in the morning with people outside, even if it's just 8 people outside till 10 or 11 or 12. So I think that's the concern. And there's already a lot of activity on the street from bars and people around late at night there are a lot of residents there and families there. So these are all the concerns with this. If this was a vintage clothing store, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, offering wine and beer till 10 or 11 o'clock at night or 9. And I mean, that's even late. That I would think is late. So 2:00
is 10 acceptable on the
For what?
weekends for outside?
Outside. We can't answer that. I think the bigger concern is the 2 o'clock inside, for me, quite frankly. That, you know, and that you said that's not negotiable, so, I mean, I think you've heard from everybody, it's a primarily a clothing store, and you
Mhm.
want to be open till 2 o'clock in an area that already has a lot of places open till 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning that are problematic, so it's one more place, open late, bringing people in that can drink outside, and I think that's the concern.
Can we do, so what about in the daytime on the patio? Do you have any concern with the daytime?
We'll have to discuss this all amongst
Okay.
ourselves. I mean, I think you should just, hearing what you've heard from the community and hearing what you've heard from people up here, maybe because we have to discuss this tonight, we have to, you know, you tell us your hearing all of that, the best you can do with that, and we can discuss that.
And you're gonna have to, I mean, it doesn't look like you've discussed with your landlord filing for change to the certificate of occupancy, which is a,
Careful with that.
all right, well, I'm just saying it's generally a fairly big undertaking. They started it before over 20 years ago and they stopped doing the same change in use, and that was simply to legalize a loft law residence in the building, and they didn't finish it then.
If it's not legalized for us, we wouldn't be renting it. Because that's putting us in a bad position.
Oh, okay, well, the basement is storage only, and it's very clear on the Department of Buildings records that that's storage
And
only.
that would be why the landlord would have to change the CBO. We went through this with the landlord and the architect on a Zoom meeting.
You indicated to us there are no plans to change anything, so,
Well, it's either as LNO that would allow us to do the retail.
right, on the ground floor,
Yes.
but we're
And the
talking about the
basement-
basement.
But the
so-
whole thing would be legalized. Otherwise, we wouldn't be renting the place. It wouldn't make sense for us, especially we have neighbors that have they have concerns about another place coming in there. So by us not making it legal would create problems for us in the future. So we're not gonna be renting it from the landlord if it doesn't get legalized.
And
True.
just to be clear, the whole space is licensed. I mean, it's not that, because people can walk around with their alcohol, the entire space is licensed, including the cellar.
Yes.
Anybody else have anything from the committee? No? No. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, the next application we are going to hear is, Iaccas Corp. doing business as Old Fashioned Cafe at 110 Thompson Street.
Hi, welcome to me. I'm Antonello. I'm one of the two owners of Old Fashion. We are two brothers, and we have a space in Thompson Street as a cafe. And from the last 6 months, the space in our building is empty, and the landlord came to us and asked if we want to add another room of our cafe, and for us could be a good opportunity to extend a little bit our operate. And we're here to ask you like the permit to add our room.
So, okay, so you're looking to move in, expand to the space next door,
Next door, yes.
not change your method of operation?
No.
Um,
I just want to tell you the space before us, the space before the one that we got it was already together before. And then they separated before us and they opened Psychic.
Yeah.
Which was operating for I think before us. They left 6 months ago, and we
didn't want to have the empty space next door, which is, we have the two guys here that lives in my building, in the building that we have homeless, and since it's like 3 stairs down, it's kind of sometimes gets a little bit messy. And we want to have someone next to us. Very nice. In this case, since we didn't have anyone in the last 6 months, we would like to take it.
Okay, and so your hours now, just for anybody who doesn't know, they're 9 to 12.
And
Sunday
1 a.m.
to
on Saturday.
Thursday, and 9 to 1 Friday and Saturday. You serve breakfast, lunch,
We serve breakfast all day.
and lunch?
We have a lot
What?
of pastas, we have a steak, we have we are like that European cafe style where we do everything from the morning to the night.
Okay, and then there's no outside seating.
We have the permit from the DOT, well, it's called like an outdoor plan,
Right,
is until October 31st.
okay, and then then that goes away.
After that, we didn't request yet because we don't know yet if we're gonna add it, because it's kind of we personally don't like this the seats on the street. We like the seats next to the door because we have the space at the windows. We didn't ask yet, and we are waiting to understand the summer how it's gonna be.
Right.
Because we opened 1.5 years ago, so it's like we are still new.
Okay, and then so the space next door, you've got on your plans, it's access through an interior
Yes,
hallway.
from
So,
inside of my door, from inside to inside the door, from the back.
so when people go, will they be entering through the 2 different doors?
We can use both. We can use from outside, we can leave the people next door, or from inside, we can live in the back of the
Like,
the other place.
what I'm trying to understand is if people make a reservation or something, where do they know where to go? Like, is there a main entry that's really labeled as your restaurant and then the other one is secondary? Or how do you
We're gonna
manage
have
that?
the hostess outside our door, where we're gonna lead the people from one side or the other side, or if we're busy inside, from inside the restaurant, we can go inside the other.
Okay, so in the winter time, the hostess would probably be inside, I would hope.
100%.
And it's all it's the same business name, it's the same business
We won't
model,
change
it's the
anything.
same,
Just what we're gonna keep the bar that we have right now. We won't build another bar.
okay. And then, so I'm going to go back to when you were here a while ago, and the one thing that people were complaining about was a lot of the patrons mingling outside at closing, smoking outside. I think they're still doing that because we got one letter that says this
And,
is still, and you saw that letter.
Absolutely.
So can you just
I explained what
what's going on and
what we were
we're
thinking.
going to fix it?
So
Because
the
it's been a few
place,
months enough.
even if my place that I have right now, it's a 750 square feet, 350, it's kitchen and bathroom. So it's just 400 square feet, 35 seating. We don't get reservation more than 2 or 4 people. And I went, all the people that I have in the building, I said, we're trying to take it, the space next door. Do you have a problem with that? It was, no one see anything, like all the people, for us, it's like, no problem. But we have, we sort of complained, we didn't know about it. We're gonna have, when we get if we get the space, we're gonna have another hostess that because if the problem is the stairs, because people sitting on the stairs, if the problem is that, I can lead the hostess to move the people around. I gotta say, we never had a DJ, we never had the police in the place. We never had a TV to show like soccer.
Yeah.
3/4 of our customer are girls. They come together very respectfully. And I told one time it was a guy in the building that told the people who smoke here. We put a sign, please no smoking. The only one we didn't put it is respect your neighbor, which we're gonna do it because I didn't think it was necessary. But we're gonna do it anyway.
So you're gonna put that in now too?
Absolutely. We
because
already
the-
put the no smoking
Right.
sign outside.
Okay, so you're gonna put the respect your neighbor too and hope
Yes.
that people.
I
will-
told them
okay.
like, I'm trying to do my best. We are no smoker. So we have a lot of European, I know they smoke, and I try to tell them, guys, it's like free street. I don't want to be that guy. Please try to understand that people lives next
People
door.
live right upstairs and it's
Especially
all going
upstairs,
up,
because
yeah.
the people next to me, I went like knocking the door. I said like, guys, sorry about this. I like, no, we don't get any smoke. Probably the person upstairs. And I say like every time now, if we get a space next door, we're gonna hire another 2 people because we need like more help to work. Because right now it's just me, my brother, and two people, and the chef and the bartender that works with us. That's it. So we're gonna hire another person, and we're gonna have one person that leading the people in the two spaces and lead the people around. Spread a little bit.
Okay. Does anybody from the committee have any questions? Okay, I think we have some people here from the public. I have Stephen Gutman.
They just left because he had another meeting, and we have the other two.
Well, he checked off that he was for, and then Johnny Anuzzi.
Yes.
Okay, so okay.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
So I've been living in the neighborhood since 2004. And when these guys opened, I was really happy to see them come into the building. They're gentlemen, they're family business. They have really high quality food. I go there for the food. I don't even go there to drink. The food is just amazing. They're very respectful. I really just want to see them succeed. You know, they're a classic story of people coming here to one of the greatest places in the country, in the world, to try to be successful. And I want to see them do it. And I've seen them grow. And now I see them looking to expand next door. And I know it's just going to be just a larger place so that they could have more chance to succeed. And I'm for it, all for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And you're in the building.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and you are?
Yep. Hi, I'm John Holmberg. I also live in the building, so directly, above the restaurant. This is a business that came in post-COVID, and they really worked to improve the area. Ever since they came, I feel like the area has been really improved, and I feel like a further expansion would even help to improve that. I feel like even before the pandemic, that area was kind of abandoned, like the building next to it currently is. So I feel like, adding that, addition to the restaurant would be fantastic. Also, the restaurant is fantastic. The guys that run it are excellent. The clientele is super respectful. I come back at all hours, back to my building, and I've never, seen anyone, acting up. It's not the kind of place that people go to get drunk or anything like that. It's a really tame kind of space. People are super respectful. But yeah, I think a further expansion would only help to kind of improve the neighborhood there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
What? Well, that was what those were. What gang? Let's see. It was the people on the stoop, the smoking, the talking loud, the laughing late at night. So those are the things that need to be
Controlled.
addressed.
Control.
And the outside.
And the outside. You'll come back for the are you applying this year for the outside? The outside seating.
We want to see like how is the summer, because right now everybody has the table outside. Even a small cafe that has like 150 square feet has a 50 sitting outside. So I want to see like how is the summer for us, because last summer we were just open and we were very new. I want to see like how is the real rules. We have time until August, I think. The real rules to have the table outside. If they take out all the table outside, I don't want to have it, because I prefer to keep everything inside. It's easier for us to have control. I don't like to have the space empty inside and full outside.
Right.
Like even the place that I told you last time, we have two places in Italy called Old Fashioned, like this one. It's like family business. My parents and my little brother running. We have the same thing. Like we prefer to have, we build the place inside, we design the place inside to have people inside, not outside. But I understand like the business, if even a cafe has 50 seating outside, I don't want that. I want 4. In that case, I'm gonna have just 4 seating to the windows. So that's all I will ask if I need to. But if the rule says no one has it, I do prefer in this way, 100%.
And if you were to have it, would you agree to be closing it at 10 o'clock at night, or?
The permit says until midnight.
I know what the permit says.
If I can.
I'm asking you this.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're doubling your space, you're doubling your impact. And that was the problem before. And that's why the board didn't support your application to extend the hours. So now you're doubling the size and the space out front in an area that previously didn't have outdoor dining. And so in some respects, it's like, which is it as far as the impact that you're creating? And we had quite a few comments on the impact previously, and that's the same thing that we've had now with just that. And so this is magnifying that. So if you break it up into pieces, I mean, the reality is we're looking at the whole of what the plan is. And if you're going to be coming back again for later hours, again for outside, and you're asking us to weigh in on this, that's where the problem begins. So if this is solving your problems by giving you extra space and it alleviates the need for having the outside or the later hours, you know, that's one thing. If this is going to become part of asking for later hours in the future and even more outside seating, this is precisely what, you know, the law is looking at when it's measuring the impacts of licensed premises in an area. And this is predominantly residential, this area, and it's not on one of the major corridors. So that's why, you know, what is it that we're getting here going forward?
So I can say the new space, it's 250 square feet with the bathroom inside, the whole space. So that means we're gonna have no more than 8 tables inside. 8 table means in total 60 more people. Even with that, even with the 4 tables outside for 2, because the tables outside just for 2, we're gonna be the smallest bar in the area, because we have the place in the corner. It's 3 times our space as 3 times our table outside, and they're very respectful, and we're trying to do the same. Even in that case, if we get a space which is like very small, we do prefer to have the space next door than having the table on the street. If I can have the 2 tables on the left and the right side of my restaurant, still, I don't know if you saw, but it's like the entrance and the 2 tables inside my space. Even in that case, we're gonna have 4 more tables outside and 8 tables inside a new place. Even in that case, we're gonna be the smallest one. The only thing I can promise you right now is we can make, we actually gonna be even more careful than we have right now with the people standing outside smoking. Because the problem I can see is not, we don't serve alcohol on the street. We don't even serve alcohol if we have the capacity of 75 people. We don't get more than 35 people inside, because that's how it is designed the place. I can do more than that. Like I say, 35 people is the most that we can have inside the place. We don't serve people standing at the restaurant. We just serve people sitting, because it's a family business. It's just me and my brother. We spend most of the time inside, and we have to keep control. If we get more people inside standing, to us is complicated. But again, like I wanted to get the space next door because it's been empty for 6 months. It's not a good publicity for us. For the building, I can like they were pushing us to do it. For us, it's an investment. We are still like 2 brothers that we put our money. We don't have investors. That's what I want to say.
I guess my question in the end is you're going to still have to keep going and going and going, and that's the issue of what the whole point of what the underlying 500-foot rule is the impact on noise, the impact on traffic, and all of that. And this space, as it expands, it's when you step outside and you look up and you turn in a circle, all you see are apartments. And so the impact of adding the space, is that solving your problems, or is it creating more of these issues that we're going to have to face?
I think it's like an add for the neighbor and not like a minus, because right now is an empty space and a dark light on Thompson Street, which Thompson doesn't have already too many restaurants. Thompson has us as Milady that open later, and San Carlo. On that block is just 3 of us. And then in the other side, we have the cafe.
And that's by design. That complies. I mean, you're a non-conforming space in a residential neighborhood because that was used as a business prior to 1938. It's not supposed to have businesses on the ground floor in that area. And so that's why we're bringing this up, because this is the parts where people are supposed to live, and generally the businesses that are located on the ground floor serve the immediate neighborhood, not to their detriment, but to their complement. And so that's why we're bringing that up.
Yes, but we are not a basement. We are 3 stairs down. Like on top than us, there is no like the first floor. Like
I
there is already
understand
like,
that. That's my point though, is they're not supposed to be businesses in the neighborhood, period, because it's residentially zoned. And they're not, if you were to go build a new building, you could not put in a business at the ground level there. It would have to
like-
be apartments. And so this is a pre-existing non-conforming use. But as these uses magnify, the impacts are magnified across that area. And that's what we're
I understand.
trying to figure out here. And this was, obviously is a very small space, of which there are not many, which makes it hard for other small businesses to come in to the neighborhood because they may only need a very small footprint. And so now
I will be happy if someone take the space next to me. It's gonna be bring me more business first of all, and I'm gonna have another lights next to me. When we arrived in the neighborhood 2 years ago, when we got the space 2 years ago, before we opened the space, because now we spent 6 months building, was not, lady wasn't even open, and the coffee shop wasn't even open. It was very, very dark. And 9:30 p.m. we used to go home, even if we're building. Me and my brother, because we ride a city bike, we used to go home because we're kind of scary. So if I have another business next to me, if it's not me, I will be more than happy. But it's been 6 months, and right now became a home for an homeless, which I never seen in Soho before. It's something that we are seeing right now. We are like seeing right now. Girls was raped a month ago. I think in Thompson Street in actually 2 blocks here. And I do prefer to have a lights next to me than have an empty space. It's been 6 months. Every month I ask the landlord if someone get it. To us, it's going to be expensive to build a new place. But I do prefer to take it instead of getting empty. Of course, it's going to be a business for me in a good and a bad way, because business take like all the bad way. But the promise that I do the best to have that little concern with the neighbor. They don't even know who is it, because no one came to me and say like, you are loud at night or you do this at night. Everything we do out by ourselves.
I think the concern he's getting for is just, it's going to be now more people coming in, and then the impact of the outside, and there's already the impact of the people that you heard this months ago. And so it still hasn't been solved of the people smoking. I don't think the problem is what's going
That's
on
what we're gonna fix
inside.
anyway.
It's what's going on outside and as Carter was saying, it's a residential area.
Absolutely. But
So
we're
more-
gonna hire 2 more people
Right,
just to
so
take care of that.
and then if you're going to go forward and have outdoor seating, that's what we're looking at with this, having that space then allows you to have 2 more tables outside if you're going to do that.
But not on the street. Like no on the roadway. It's just like
You're
inside.
still outside on the sidewalk, which still creates noise for all the residents that live around there in a place where they never had this before. So I think that's what the concern is the potential outdoor seating
I
that goes
understand.
along with this.
Like again, if everybody take out the outdoor seating, I will be more than happy, because we build the place to be inside. But we're seeing around, we even right now, we can have the space, the bigger space, we didn't take it. We just got there 4 tables. That's where we want to keep it. We want to keep it like in that way, because like all the ambience that we create
Right.
inside, not for outside. That's like the promise that I can make.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, the next application is going to be WLLC, doing business as The Boy at 390 Broome Street. So GSB just said that they will get rid of the outside seating. So that is going away.
David Tobias, Eric Adolphson is here. They're the 2 owners. So there's a change in the method of operation for WLLC doing business as the Woolly, located at 390 Broome Street at the corner of Mulberry and Broome. The applicant was previously approved for an on-premise liquor license and midnight closing at your November 22 SLA committee hearing. These are the same closing hours as the previous licensee Seymour's. So we agreed to do that. We received our temporary OP license on 3/18/23 and our 2-year license on 10/3/23. So we've been licensed for over 14 months without any complaints that we know of. When I notified the community board, we were requesting a 1 a.m. closing on Sunday through Wednesday and 2 a.m. closing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's what we want to do and present here. We will be applying for a sidewalk cafe in the future. It's not part of this application. We would go with the 5-foot street shed that we agreed to previously. We do not believe we're gonna get the tables and chairs on Mulberry Street as before. Of course, it's a regional corridor where we have to leave 10 feet. So there's not gonna be much there. Broome Street, we probably have some room for tables and chairs, maybe 5 tables and 10 seats. We did submit signatures of support, 8 from our building. And the applicant will explain reasons why they want to open later.
Just do me one favor. What did you say because when I'm looking at the application, it says 2 a.m., 7 days. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay, that's what
We're reversing that to 1 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday. 2
you're,
a.m.
you're
Thursday.
pulling it back to 1 a.m. Okay.
That's what we originally put in the letter in the notification.
So it's Sunday to Wednesday, 1 a.m., Thursday to Saturday, 2 a.m.
Yes.
And the outside
The outside would be
currently
10 and
clo-
11?
closes at 10 and 11.
Yes.
Which is what the previous operator had as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and what we currently.
That's what we previously agreed to.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, guys.
Hi.
Good to see you in person, post-COVID virtual meetings.
And your name is?
I'm David.
You're David,
Bias. I'm
okay,
co-owner with
okay.
Eric Adolphson, and operators. So it's been fantastic getting to know the neighborhood, really building our space. It's been really wonderful and really appreciate the initial support that you guys gave us initially. At this point, we are seeing a lot of missed opportunity with our guests. We're turning away a lot of people. Also, some of our loyal guests are unfortunately being disappointed when we tell them they have to leave prematurely. Really lovely evenings are cut short. And it's, frankly, a bummer for us and for our staff. We're really building a really warm, lovely place for our customers and for our guests. And we do that way too often for us to all be happy about. We have also, we have to cut people short. We have to tell people, also people will be coming in at 11:45, 11:50, 11:30, looking to sit down, have a nice hang. And we have to direct them to other locations in the neighborhood, other businesses close by, other businesses not so close by, but there's plenty of those conversations that happen all too often these days. It has become a bit of a disappointment for all of us. Our staff is incredibly loyal. They've been with us. Most of them have been with us since opening, and they put a lot of love, a lot of energy into building the clientele. And they see their own money being left on the table as well when they're telling their clients that they, have 15 minutes to leave, or they're having a really lovely time, a great conversation, and they have to, cut their evenings short. As a result of being in the area now for a decent amount of time and operating consistently, we see the opportunity for people to come in at 11:50 and have an hour and a half visit with us, which is why we're asking for a 2 a.m. as well. We see an opportunity for more time being spent there. The neighborhood has really blossomed, we think, since COVID. We have hotels, we have people visiting, we have neighbors who are enjoying their time out. We see a lot of additional possibilities for people to enjoy themselves at our space, which is not a ruckus place. And finally, another opportunity that we are missing often in our neighborhood in particular, we have people looking to leave different venues, hotels, have a little birthday reservation or engagement party.
And these usually happen later in the evenings, and we're not able to properly cater to them. And we have to turn a lot of these away as well. Whether it's a 15-person birthday dinner or gathering, whatever it might be. So that's why we're asking for this extension.
Okay. Cormac?
So when we approve a package of things and, you know, and particularly hours, what we're doing is looking at the location and the impact on the neighborhood and what the maximum envelope is for that space in terms of the impact on the neighborhood. I've heard you speak a great deal about how valuable it would be to your business for this. What has changed in the context of the neighborhood since we approved your license? What has changed that makes this make sense and, you know, for anybody else, or what is the benefit for anyone else?
Well, we now that we're able to engage with all of our customers and our different guests that are coming in, all of our locals, all of our neighbors, we really do see an appetite for people to stay there later. And we are engaging with a lot of people on a week-to-week basis, turning them away.
But are these people who live next door, above, across the street?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at, because, you know, the fact that restaurants turn people away at the hour that we want them to shut down for the sake of the neighbors is to me a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see what the problem is. So you're saying that the neighbors support putting these hours later?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We have a fantastic relationship with all of our locals and our neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there, do we have petition signatures, a letter? Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Sure.
Building.
I was just gonna say on the one thing that's a big change is you came to us as a restaurant, but now you're a cocktail bar. And the hours you're asking for match that of a cocktail bar. And so it seems like there is an underlying change in your business.
Oh, we're still a restaurant with cocktails.
Okay, but that's not what your website says.
It's a dining room and cocktail bar is how we it's one big room. If you look at our menus, you could see we have dinner,
really dining room and cocktail bar.
Yeah.
So
well, we do have a liquor license. We specialize in fantastic cocktails to accompany our meals. But if you look at our dinner menu, our brunch menu, our lunch menu, they're robust menus with a full.
But I mean, if you market yourself as a cocktail bar, you're going to get people coming in later, and that's the whole issue. That's not what was presented to us when you guys had come to us.
Totally candidly, that's just. Oh yeah, sorry. Totally candidly, that's just probably me being clever with our naming. But again, we were just one big room. We named the dining area the dining room. If you ever look at a floor plan, it says that's dining room, and the bar area we refer to as a cocktail bar. It's not two separate rooms. It's not, you know, in the back, there's something else. It's what it says on our awnings. It wasn't an intentional sleight of hand. It really is how we look at the space. It's a restaurant, you know, and I've designed a lot of restaurants, you know, sometimes you just put different names. And again, it's always kind of an enjoyable act for me to name the kind of sub name on the awning. And so it wasn't an intentional thing. We consider ourselves a full service restaurant. We open very early. We serve coffee. We have a coffee window. It says that on the awning above as well. So yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so let me just read to you stipulation 1 of the signed stipulation agreement that you helpfully provide a copy of. Premises will be advertised and operated as a family restaurant. Are you, as Mr. Booth says, been promoting yourself and describing yourself as a cocktail bar online and in your virtual presence?
The full sentence, I would say, of that we are a full service restaurant with a bar that serves sorry, never without the full sentence saying that we're a full service restaurant with a bar. You know, we're a food, you know, a bar and restaurant. Yeah, we are
in the place twice. I go in there, it's a restaurant. I know what you're reading, restaurant, cocktail bar, but a lot of people would advertise like that. But when I went in there to eat, it was a restaurant. Did I order a cocktail? Absolutely. And I was a good cop.
Right, so what it is one thing. The point Carter is raising is what is being advertised is another, which is why we have that stipulation is if you advertise as a cocktail bar, you're gonna attract a later night crowd. That's the point, right? And then you're gonna have people come and go, oh, why do I have to be turned right so early? Because they're looking for a cocktail bar. They're not looking for a family restaurant that focuses on full service American themed menu.
Yeah, I mean, really, that is what we position ourselves as as a full service restaurant. We again, we open early serving food. We're very much about our food. That's really our passion, but we also do love cocktails. And so that is something we make. But in terms of advertising, I've never advertised it as a bar. I don't think we've ever done anything where we aren't what we are. Our website says everything that we have to offer. And again, if it is a name thing,
And-
I could be convinced to change it. That's really a concern.
And just after, yet just after, after just over a year of operation, you're telling me that you're turning away people who want to come late at night.
I mean, yeah, David can speak.
Yeah,
more to
yeah.
it, but
We routinely have guests coming in to dine with us and have stays at our restaurant at 11:45, 11:50. It's just the neighborhood seems to have that life in it right now.
What time does the kitchen close?
12 o'clock.
I'm just gonna put out there, we've heard, two other applications that are pending right now. In the past 6 months to a year, and both of those restaurants are closing at 12 and 1. When they came to us, we had a lot of people in the neighborhood that came to speak, especially for the one that was just a couple of months ago, on Mott Street, but really around the corner from you. And they stressed how much the neighborhood had changed. And I think a lot of what your experience of the hotels and of the people coming in and wanting to eat later is exactly what these people were really concerned about, because they have a lot of young families.
Right.
And there's a lot of elderly people all living all around there. And you've got this influx of, new people coming in and the hotels coming in, and their concern is how much that's changing the neighborhood. And so we had those restaurants at least, limit their hours to 12 and 1 so that there wouldn't be that later night activity, so that these people could still sleep at night and not hear people later at night. And so I'm putting that out there.
Understood. If you were in our space, it's all wait staffed. It's all sat, formally sat.
These were not bars. These
Right.
were good, they haven't opened
Right,
yet,
right.
so who knows what people will do, but these were really represented as high-end restaurants to us. And all with wait staff, all with all of that. There are other bars around that are
Sure.
bars and are later night and cause their own set of problems. But I'm just letting you know what we've done with other people in the past 6 months that have come here right where you are, asking for 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, they didn't come in asking for 12 and 1. That's what they came in for. And then listening to the neighborhood, that's what they
Asking
arrived
for 12 and then 1 on the Thursday
What
through.
what they agreed to was 12 and 1 on Fridays and Saturdays.
The reason I think is because we are a restaurant. We find that when when people are coming at 11:50 or so, we are just thinking ahead. Again, giving them the option that they're going to have to leave an hour into their meal.
Come at 11:50. I'm just going to say, if they come at 11:50, and the kitchen closes at 12, there's no way they're getting a meal at that time, but they are sitting down and they are having their drinks until 2 o'clock in the morning, and therein lies the problem.
No, I understand.
I'm just saying.
No, but this is why we're asking for 2 a.m. though. I'm saying if
folks are coming, I thought the issue that you agree on, most of the time when people come in at 10:30, we're warning them that there's going to be a limit to how long they're
right.
gonna stay.
But I'm
So,
but specifically.
Seamless had 12 o'clock closing, just so we're clear on
Yeah,
that.
Seamless at 12. No, so first of all, I mean, I'm thinking ahead to the 2 a.m. issue. We still will have the proposition, even if the reason we're asking for 2 a.m. specifically is because we want to provide people with a full experience as opposed to cut them short again when we extend this. And, that's why the 2 a.m. originally.
You're also looking at Market Street, which they're probably not going to be open at 2 a.m. on the weekends during the winter time, but during the summer, you do have A lot of people from all over the world coming, and they do come out late. A lot of people are used to coming out late. So that's what they're looking at.
Out there, you know, can you just keep the 12 o'clock and go to 1 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to be in line with, that's even, I think, more than what we gave the other people.
I just respectfully, I'm just curious because again, some of the examples that you were giving, and just my own edification, I don't attend these very often. I'm a little bit, David and I are relatively inexperienced in that regard to the hearings, but especially in this community board. But being that we have been open for the time that we have, and people have been able to come in and experience what we are. I am just curious, like, is that kind of can we find to
me, what I'm going to say, right. I mean,
Getting more expansion because everybody's failing.
Okay, understood.
The others, so all we get are more restaurants, and you have a street that is changing as Mike can explain to you how, whether or not any other changes will happen as far as the outside, that's becoming inaccessible even more so than it was before. People can't even go up Mulberry Street because it's closed more than half the year. I mean, this impact is pretty significant, and we keep getting monster applications of combined storefronts. And this was Seymour's, and they came in under that, and that was the impact then.
Right.
And they mitigated it with Mr. Chernow and closing at midnight, and and that's part of what it is not everybody can do this, or it becomes untenable to even be in that area because it is so late. And I mean, that's where finding the balance is that, I mean,
We put it for 12:30 during the week and one on the weekend.
no, I don't do half hours.
And sorry, and you guys are proposing one Thursday through Saturday? I don't want to push you guys too far out of your comfort zone, so totally respect, and you guys obviously have better context for what people are asking for. I think because we know what's happening in the neighborhood, we know how much of a restaurant our space is and what a warm, almost salon environment that we provide the neighbors in the neighborhood. And to be honest, I do see some of the trends happening in the neighborhood. I do see some of that, there's some of the nightlife-y thing that is beginning. We're not that. And we're almost an oasis, almost a buffer zone for this, giving neighbors, giving a more mature audience a place to come for a later bite and a later drink. This is why we envisioned a 2 a.m., just knowing all the other businesses, all the other late businesses, the O'Neills, the Mother's Ruins, the Spring Lounge, we're distinctly not this experience. So this is why when we envisioned a 2 a.m., we don't want to, this was what we envisioned for the creative, the creative vision of the space, All right. Okay. With that being said, we appreciate the 12 and the 1.
So you'll do the 12 Sunday to Wednesday and 1 Thursday through Saturday.
sure.
Thank you. And then
Thank you.
I know you're not here for the outdoor, but I think I'll have something in the stipulation, and just because you'll probably be applying for the outdoor when you figure out what's happening. That any future site, because right now you have in your other stipulation, you already have something about the outdoor. So I want to change it to be any future sidewalk cafe or row bed seating will abide by all rules and regulations of the Dining Out NYC program, including clear path requirements, that all service will be by wait staff, will be from within the sidewalk cafe boundaries. All sidewalk and row bed seating will consist of 2 top tables, because that was in the previous one. And there will be no row bed seating on Broome Street, was also in the previous one, because you can't. Right. And then, and it'll close no later than 10 Sundays to Thursdays and 11 Fridays and Saturdays. So.
Yeah, and we'd like to see the city address that outdoor. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think that if the street's closed and you simply have tables and chairs out without a structure, might be more affordable, right, for everybody to do that if the city, but I don't know if the city is going to agree with that, because the big change with the sidewalk widths, it really actually came to touch with the density of licenses in the area. That's why you can't have sidewalk cafes anymore, but it's finding a better balance that's not later, you know,
Right.
in the evening. And that's, I don't know if anybody's discussing that in more detail, but that's, I know Mike represents most of the applicants there, and I keep bringing that up, but that discussion is something that, you know, seems like it needs to happen because it's a mess.
Yeah, yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
Trying to get something.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Need to comply with the ADA.
Right.
But even the road bed is what I'm saying, a better use of that without having to.
Yeah, 3 to 24 feet.
Yeah, yeah, 15 feet, so. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Good night. Okay, I think that does it. Or, yep, okay, so we'll take a break. Any new business, anybody? Yeah, there we go. Oh, and yeah, and Great Jones, you all know Great Jones, we're not hearing. So the deal with them is that, you know, we voted to recommend denial unless they agreed to certain stipulations. Which I gave them the whole list. You've all seen it. It's all in the Google Drive. The bigger point for them was that they'd be closing at midnight 7 days with the exception of their 12 events that would go till 2 a.m. because they said they needed to be able to go later for events. That was primarily why they needed the 2 a.m. They are running a financial analysis of that to see if that will work for their business model and are still doing that. So they said that they could not answer us by tonight. But that they said they would not proceed with the SLA until they responded to the committee. I think what I'm going to do is write the denial resolution that I didn't write last month because that is what we voted on. And we can always do, I mean, we said a reconsideration, we can always take that back with the signed stipulations when we get them and redo that. So that's how I'm going to handle that. Okay, so let's just take a couple minute break and then go into business.
It's pretty clear.
I understand. Everybody can get me downstairs. There. I mean, I'm going to have to go here months ago, and we like that information because they're good. And we have not decided to be there. It's not like it's a bad thing or doesn't whatever happens when people leave in the country. It's a residential cost for the average resident, so they're quiet. And I think the quarter getting more significant. One of the things we can't do is focus on the later hours. We get it in the sea and I was working for having it's great. We have more sheep, we got to later out, we don't get the outside, and you know, and he didn't say he would have the outside. And I am concerned, you know, here. That was what this at the beginning concern with what it was solve that.
You know, there. But you know, it's not necessarily solving things other than the energy for seats, but that's like what we say. Like, there's almost which issue that very different issue. Say that spell it out, but the impacts in that local elected. Then began another place, and you're inside, what we heard the last year. Here it's like, oh, well, it's great. And again, you're using 4 6 months. It's still another loss. You know, last time you were here, yeah. I was looking at great place. I mean, our standing, you know, I mean, my concern is just if there weren't impacts outside, other place, you know, very specific. Because one of the very specific things is respect for the outside. So this sounds like it's not. Well, I know we don't want to. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with these. The exchange is done pretty well, which is the whole. Well, if no outside dining, our issue.
Well, we pushed them on the outside, like, we kept going on and on about city. So.
And this is my really bad also if we have this discussion.
And the other thing, that's really not a lot of good and everything else. So, I mean, I look at the back to the saying that.
When they open, they specifically said that they won't operate. Sidewalk, they will be temporary.
Yeah.
I think it's hard time. We can get that.
Yeah, I think it's well compromised and it's probably. You know, it's more people that can. But
it is in positive.
Right.
And this goes all the way down to. Yeah. All the same issues that are outside. Trying to verify. This is also this is the big concern that we were okay with that. Getting the bullet. So become part of the application. Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Well, that's the same position.
Right.
It's maintain that position.
Maybe the iron is specifically like on the outside.
Well, it means, you know, like, that's the practical challenge. And there's not a visible cell phone. So you have a likely staff place in the space, which you can't people that you have two different settings. The biggest issue, you know, It's a really important here. Saying all of it, this is totally.
No, they pay for I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, it's so much interesting. Yeah. He did.
Well, and they're like, oh, what?
And like they were for the day, like we're walking down here and
Scared. What? Yeah, that doesn't do it.
So we're denying them. And then go to the next one for the.
I mean, I was laying down the correct spot. It's like. Take it out. It's over here. It's on the hour. Usually, this back. It's like you want to and then there's application. Well, I was doing and about impact. We already read it. A year and a half ago, I was on the state and said, well,
and they I would say and now everything let's say Because of your question on change, the change is to go down. Right. I think that they have, I think the president is.
We're losing area because of and if that's where the direction is going. Yeah. But this whole this is just you remember we had replaced in the budget over class.
Yeah.
That get there and that but in most, what's interesting is that many of the old town restaurants here, which you talk about, can all stay open together. And when we're talking about the bars, sort of like the metrics. I mean, this is something you could think realize. The metrics are different. And any other and then the other thing is that this would be one of the last. Very strong. That's all. The notes are comfortable.
Well, and then, you know, just the struggle here. And there's too many seats. That side of it. That's the dilemma. Well, nobody close to this spot. People pick up the flip-flops. That's what they're looking for. The user over is black. People coming undermine everything. Well, undermine other weekend. Gotta get topic there. And it's interesting, you know, I think what's really that's a lot of.